don't know how to describe this state that I'm in currently. Usually when summer ends, I'm in kind of a transitional state. It's usually me going from my part-time job into university again, and then, I don't know, just getting in tune with all my classes and stuff, but now it's different. Now, I'm going from working to working again. In an odd sort of way, I miss going to classes and stuff. It was a good routine. I knew what to expect most days, if not every day. You know, loafed on classes, sit back in the library, say I'm gonna study, say I'm gonna do my projects, and then just like chill with the homies for like 6 hours. Usual shit, right? But I noticed things feeling hollower, which was weird because I used to always, in a weird way, fantasize about the summertime and like what epic routine and schedule that I'm gonna get into. I was gonna go to work, come back, study something, film a video, edit the video, then work out, then have this epic, rhythm. I was gonna be like a fucking Terminator. I was gonna do boom, 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 task, then relax, chill, maybe pick up a few hobbies. I thought about swimming again. I used to swim when I was, I think like 14, 15. I make it sound like it's so long ago, but it's really not. I was at the level before lifeguarding, and then I quit. I don't know why I quit. It's not something that really haunts me now, but it's a weird sort of thing because, there are so many times like that in my life where I'm at the precipice of really getting seriously into a hobby or into another endeavor. And then at the last moment, I start asking myself questions like, do I really enjoy this? Do I really like this? And then afterwards, I just kind of back off. Weird, right? You'd think as you became closer and closer to proficiency, you would want to pursue whatever hobby that is further. But no. What ended up happening this summer was I just went to work, came back from work, chilled. I worked out semi-consistently. I think that's like the one thing I was able to keep up. Ish. I told myself that I was going to upload more often and make videos. And I mean, it's not even to the commitment of any other people. Realistically, I make these videos for me, obviously, and like 30 people who watch them. Which I'm thankful, by the way, if you're one of them. It's one of those fun things that I still feel like represents me. And, losing passions is a dangerous thing. It's a dangerous thing because you need that when you get back from work. You need that when developing a routine. And, I started thinking about this issue. Why is it that because I know I'm not the only one who's going through this, why is it that we give up our interests so easily? I think it's a bit of a boring and unsexy answer, but yeah, a lot of it is to do with technology. It's just so much more, interesting. It's so gripping in the ways that a longer term, longer strenuation task is not. But, you've heard that from everywhere. So I think I want to offer up perhaps an alternative perspective. And this perspective is, I'm going to be honest, not really original. I heard about it from a video that was discussing Carl Jung. And one part of Carl Jung's psychology, or at least one part of his books, was this archetype called the puer aeternus. But basically what this archetype is a person that is unwilling to grow up. unwilling to accept the mundanity of their life. I thought that the solution was to find passion within your life, was to find great exuberance, and through that you would be building a system of friends, hobbies, and, labor. But essentially, the crux of the puer aeternis situation is that they are unable to make choices, because choices involve sacrifice. And the puer aeternis is terrified of sacrifice. And immediately that resonated with me. I think maybe it can resonate with a lot of you guys as well. The inability to make sacrifice. And that's a terrible inability to have, because as you go through life, I believe that it's about closing doors less than about opening them. In order to be something, you have to not be something else. You have to be okay with not being something else. When I chose to study what I studied, I gave up on any illusions of becoming a doctor or a financial accountant or any sort of number of things. I chose one specific discipline, and that involved myself turning off other options. And that's the problem with us, is we're so afraid of turning off other options because we were exposed to so much media and so many things, from movies to social media to TV shows. It filled up our minds with the idea that we could really have it all. I can be an intellectual. I could be romantic. I could be a CEO of a $100 billion company, a $1 trillion company. I could empower the youth. I could start a movement. But also, I could be an athlete. I could be a creative. I could be philosophical. It's all these different versions and fantasies about ourselves that really get in the way of the core of it all, I think. They're all just distractions like the rest of it, like the shows, like the movies. And nothing's wrong with distractions inherently. That's okay. You can't mute that entirely. It's completely valid. But that was another part of the complex that really spoke to me, is that the puer aeternis is so willing to deal with fantastical scenarios rather than mundane ones. Because people like us, we think we can handle the burden of being the president, or the prime minister, sorry. We can handle the burden of running a company. We can handle the burden of being an elite athlete. We can handle the burden of a Nobel Prize physicist, But we'll be damned if we have to live life by working a regular job, setting some money to the side, and having kids at a normal middle class tax bracket. I can do all the fantastical things that I want in this world, but I'll be damned if I do that. That is beneath me. How can I debase myself? Because I'm special. I'm such a high IQ, perspicacious, determined, and charismatic, sexy individual. It's funny when you say it out loud, but I feel like if a lot of people were honest with themselves, they think that way. I think that way. I really think I could just do anything and have it all. And I think that is kind of how you be extraordinary, though. Embracing the mundanity. Finding pockets where you could exercise your fantastical ideas. You may not become some great philosopher. You may not become a groundbreaking physicist. You may not become some CEO of $1 trillion company, but you can exercise those desires in other ways without the result. And that's something that we cannot do. People my age and myself, is we cannot make an action without a certain result. But a certain result is never possible. So the only way to make an action is through an uncertain result. I'm terrified of uncertainty. And I think when you're terrified of uncertainty, the only reasonable conclusion that you have towards that fear is to not act at all.